Hey guys, so we are coming off the heels of the biggest Legends information slash reveals and stuff ever. I mean, this is the biggest update to the game of all time, right? The game launches in 2018. Here we are in 2025. This is the biggest update to this game since the game came out in 2018. It just is. I mean, they're changing effectively the entire game, right? People are looking at this, and yes, I will just mention this again. I understand Saiyan Saga is not the most hyped thing ever, but even if you are not a fan of the Saiyan Saga, this is a change that affects every character in the game because this is going to be an overarching change to the entire battle system of the game, right? This new dynamic area battles is not just something that's specifically relegated to the new Saiyan Saga characters. This is something that is now going to affect every character. So even if you aren't a fan of the theme of part 2, which I can understand, right? Saiyan Saga, people, you know, I like the Saiyan Saga, right? I am a Kaioken Goku. I like Grade 8 Vegeta. I like Nappa as like villains. I think Tien had a really cool moment in there. I'm glad he's getting representation here. In terms of numbers, in terms of butts in seats, as they say, Saiyan Saga is not carrying the hype that you would really think of from an anniversary standpoint. But guess what? This is affecting every character. The game is changed forever because of this. So I think I do want to do a separate video just taking one more look through their explanation of what exactly is changing as a result of the dynamic area battle system. And we'll go through this and I'll give some thoughts on this. But I will just preface this by saying, I don't know what this is going to do. I don't know what this is going to do to the game. Is it going to be, you know, quote unquote, good or healthy for the game? Who knows? We're going to have to test it out for the first time tomorrow. Remember, there is going to be 6-hour game-wide maintenance tomorrow before the banners drop. So we will definitely need to kind of like get ready and download the data, and everybody's going to be scrambling to get into the game tomorrow. I would not be surprised if there was like supreme server overload tomorrow, but we will see. We will see. We've never had server-wide maintenance before a new banner drops. Unheard of. Actually, it's unheard of. Okay, so let's just go over what's going on with the dynamic area battle system. In general battles, such as raiding matches, you will now be able to move between the low area surface and the high area. So you have now air and ground. And the way that you achieve that, I believe they explain this. Let me just sort of like go through this. New battle systems too. New battle systems are also being added. Experience battles like never before with the new overdrive mode and charge attack. Yeah, we also will be talking about those things. I mean, this is actually pretty good. And I think they did a good job with marketing the anniversary to new players. Like, okay, you join now, you're going to get all this stuff. Because guess what? As a new player, you are... I mean, obviously it's not going to be actually even footing, but you are kind of on even footing with experienced players because we're all experiencing this for the first time together, right? So Toon Rami, who doesn't know what the hell's going on, right? You know, I'm trying to teach him the game. It is very difficult to learn the ins and outs of the game as a new player because it just takes a long time to learn how the game actually works. But someone like him who's a new player with the game, this is going to be a system that, guess what? He's learning it at the same time as we are. So I think that does help newer players out a lot, so that it was smart of them to kind of like structure the part 1 of the anniversary around new players and returning players. Battle area expansion, low area surface added. You can now move up and down between the surface and mid-air during battle. Enjoy special low area animations. Yeah, so a lot of the animations are different. The moving around looks a little bit different. It looks a lot smoother. The charge animations are different, and that sort of plays into the overdrive mechanic, which we can talk about. Yeah, the Jonathan Joestar Hamon overdrive mechanic. Area change attack. Switch areas with area change attack. Tap the screen after landing a tackle or a quick attack to perform an area change attack. Available to all characters. This is the most important thing of the reveal. More important than the characters, more important than the campaigns, more important than anything else they talked about, more important than Shallot in well, I mean, it's not, I don't know if I could really definitively say it's more important than Shallot in Sparking Zero. That was a pretty cool thing, but in terms of this game, available to all characters. Again, you might not like Saiyan Saga Goku, you might not be a huge fan of Saiyan Saga Vegeta, but with your Ultra Majin Vegeta, with your UI Goku, with your Legends Limited Final Form Cooler, you can now do these dynamic area battles and change the area by doing this tackle and then follow it up to, like, you know, send someone into the air. So this is not something that's specifically for these new characters. This is just an overarching change to the battle system. Let's kind of play the animation here. So we have Goku and Vegeta facing off here in the low area, which is the ground. And you'll see that off of a tackle or a quick attack, like see, he tackles him and then he just taps the screen again and he punches him up into the air. Now, the one thing to note about this is if you do that, it looks like the combo does not stay, you know, it doesn't look like the combo stays active. So I'm not sure, like, because let's say you hit somebody with a tackle, right? You have an option, and it's going to be a very split-second decision, right? Do you go for the area change attack to bump the opponent into the air, or do you just take advantage of the tackle and continue the combo, right? Because if you bump them into the air or you bump them down into the ground, you are sacrificing your combo to do that. Because you could have just capitalized on hitting them with the tackle and then using that opportunity to get them into a combo and do damage and potentially kill somebody, maybe use a Rising Rush, or you can decide to switch the area. So there is like a give and take with this, I think. So that's interesting to note. All right, let's keep going here. And then I think they're going to show the reverse, so from the air into the ground. Yeah, it does look like that actually does damage, right? So when you tackle somebody, and I think this is actually, it's actually pretty funny. If you look at the most recent battle system changes that they made with the app update, with the beginning of the anniversary in part 1, like they changed the way that like characters have like the arts card decks work. I think the reason why is because they mentioned they're going to be giving us characters that have buffs that determine whether or not you're in the air or on the ground. They buffed the damage of tackles, right? And that's obviously because now tackles are going to be much more prevalent because you're going to want to be doing these area change attacks. And you just saw here that actually sending Vegeta into the ground did damage, right? So not only did the tackle itself do damage, but Vegeta getting slammed into the ground did damage as well. And something else I'm going to be interested to see in the future too is, are there going to be like special animations for doing these dynamic area changes? Like I'm picturing like Z Broly slamming Vegeta into the rock, and like it just creates like the huge divot in the rock. That's what I'm imagining that they can do with this moving forward. So they can take Z Broly, you can slam Vegeta into the ground, and maybe it'll even do more damage. Maybe Broly has a line in his unique ability where it says his area change attack does like 100% more damage than normal. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for with this. Like they have so much freedom with this mechanic. Like there's so much they can do with this. Maybe when you perform an area change attack, you draw a full hand. Maybe it gives you a green card. Maybe it gives you an ultimate. Maybe you can combo off of this. I don't know. There's a lot they can do with this. The combos and possibilities with this mechanic, I think, are endless. This is really exciting to me. Okay, so this is how you sort of determine whether or not you're going to be pushing the opponent into the air or fighting on the ground. So yeah, here we go. Let me just move this up so we can read this here. New component dynamic. Oops, I moved something. Oops, I'm screwing up. New component dynamic area battles. And then they mention here area-specific arts cards. Arts cards added with effects that activate in the low area or high area. Look at the ability icon to tell if the effect is on or off. Yeah, so it looks like there's going to be like a certain like blue hint on the card itself to tell you whether or not the effects are active depending on which part of the map you're actually in. So that's pretty cool. I think the new Goku and Vegeta and Nappa and Tien all have held arts cards that have certain abilities depending on where you are in the battlefield. So that is pretty cool. All right, what else we got? Let's keep moving. All right, so here's the overdrive mechanic. You'll see that characters now have kind of like an additional part of the key meter. So here's your key meter, but then inside of the key meter, there is another meter that fills up as you charge, even when you have 100 key. So basically, I mean, it's a very intuitive name, overdrive. You have 100 key, but you continue charging, and during that time of you charging it, you actually fill up the overdrive gauge. So it says, fill the special gauge to activate overdrive mode, enter a temporary powered up state when activated, use arts without consuming key, and take reduced damage. And then you can unleash a super powerful overdrive attack. To me, this is probably going to be the most impactful change to PvP from the standpoint of somebody that plays this game at a god rank level. I'm not going to call it on a competitive level because I don't really consider this game to be super competitive, but at a higher level, this to me is something that looks like it will probably have the most impact on the game. Essentially having a way to enter a state where you have infinite ki, that does sound really insane. And they also did mention when they were discussing this that when you are charging to get the overdrive mode, you'll see the animation is a bit different. You are actually immune to being interrupted via quick attacks, tackles, and tap attacks, I believe is what they said. So let's see what this looks like. But this to me looks like it's going to have the biggest impact on the game. All right, let's see here. So he's going to start charging ki here in a second. And you'll see that there's going to be a little yellow meter that starts filling up in the middle of the ki gauge. And that is going to be the overdrive gauge. And during that animation, you can't really be interrupted. Now, obviously, the big thing that people aren't really talking about, and I've seen people say, oh, not being able to be interrupted, that's going to make UI Goku ridiculous, or that's going to, that's going to allow you to kind of like not care about certain things. But guess what? The opponent can simply use an arts card, right? It's not like they can't use arts cards against you here. So that is something to remember. It's not like they can just not attack you at all. So this is what it looks like when the full thing is filled up. You get this overdrive button, and you can see, I mean, this just looks ridiculous. You have literally infinite ki on this character once you have the overdrive active. So I don't know what the timing is on this. How long does the infinite ki last for? Can you just have like transformed Super Saiyan 3 Goku just combo for like 100 billion centuries because he doesn't have any ki issues? Like, how does this work? I don't know, but that's something we're gonna have to experience when we actually use the mechanic tomorrow. But yeah, you do have access to this overdrive button, and that really is the reward for filling up the overdrive gauge. Now you'll see here that this overdrive attack, pick either mid-air combo or surface combo 3 times to decide your combo route. So essentially what this is it really is like a baby version of Rising Rush. Each option will receive a random bonus effect, either a damage boost or health recovery. When attacking, the bonus effect will activate if you pick a different combo than your opponent. When defending, you can cancel the bonus effect if you pick the same combo as your opponent. So it really is very similar to Rising Rush, but instead of having arts cards to pick from, you only have 2 options to pick from, whether it's air or ground. And we'll see this in action here in a second. I think they're going to show it off. So here's the overdrive attack, and you can see it is very similar to Rising Rush. It looks like you do actually have to land the overdrive on the opponent and not just kind of like throw it out and it automatically hits. So that is good to know. So you'll see here, choose a route, land a combo. So you have bonus for the air and a bonus for the ground. And in the air, it says damage up, and there are 2 arrows here. I'm not entirely sure if that's something that can fluctuate or change depending on just what your luck is like. Then you also have restores health as a bonus effect for the ground. This is also something that they're going to have a lot of autonomy over, right? Moving forward, are we going to have characters that like in their unique abilities, when you land an overdrive attack, you have an effect that gives you a Dragon Ball. When you land an overdrive attack, maybe you nullify endurance. Like I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but that's again more freedom they have to expand how the game is played. So this guy landed the overdrive attack, and now we're going through. So he's got to pick 3 of these. He's got to pick air or ground for all 3 of these phases here. So we'll see. He picks. What does he pick for the first one? He picks air for the first one, he picks ground for the second one, then he picks ground for the third one. So you'll see now it matches you against your opponent, and it says, okay, did you and your opponent pick the same one for the first one? Did you and your opponent pick the same one for the second one? And did you and your opponent pick the same one for the third one? The person who's on offense doesn't want to pick the same as the opponent, and obviously the person defending does want to pick the same. And I guess, what is it? The more you pick that's the same, you cancel the buffs that the opponent would get. So you'll see he lost the second one. So it looks like the opponent only guessed the second one correctly. And you'll see Vegeta's kind of getting like ragdolled around the arena. He picked, the air for the first one. So he's kind of kicking him up into the air for the first hit. Second hit, he's kicking him down to the bottom. Yeah, that's how this works. And then that's the end of that combo. There's a pretty cool animation there. And that's the end of that. So that's how this effect works. And I think you should also see, okay, they didn't show, because if Goku didn't have full HP here, they would actually show that he would have healed from that, because he does get the bonus health effect from the third one that went through on this. So yeah, I mean, look at this. This looks pretty good. All right, so here's another one. And now they're going to show, what is this? What's different about this one? Okay, he picked, okay. That's just the same thing again. Okay, I see. But that's kind of a... That's kind of like a very fast demonstration of what the overdrive attack does. All right, we can skip past this now. Overcharging. So this is essentially once you have 100 ki and you continue charging, you are overcharging, which again, very intuitive name. Activates by charging ki for a set amount of time. Not only can you build the overdrive gauge, you can also recover the vanishing gauge. So recovering the vanishing gauge, I mean, that to me sounds very akin to like Ultra Blue Kaioken Goku, who on his unique gauge that you activate via charging, you can get his vanish back. So let's see here. So you can see the normal unique gauge is charging, and then you can see that the charging animation actually changes, and it starts charging up the overdrive gauge. Actually, something I didn't notice before. If we go back here. The overdrive gauge looks like it fills up even if you don't have 100 ki. So like this guy is charging, and then yeah, after like 2 seconds of charging, it does switch right away to this other animation. Once you're in this animation, that's when the overdrive gauge starts to charge up. So look, this guy's only at 90 ki, but he's still getting progression on the overdrive gauge because it's enough time has passed since he started charging to fill that up. So he's going to charge up both at the same time. And then here is, here's the overdrive activation. So now you can stop charging, and now you can actually go into the overdrive mode, and you have infinite ki again. I'm not sure how long this actually lasts for, the infinite ki thing. But yeah, that's how the overcharge works there. They also did say, which I hope they show in a second, that you can't be interrupted by like tap attacks when you do this. Automatically cancel out quick attacks, tap attacks, and tackles. Tap shots will also be nullified. Yeah, so we can see he's overcharging here. Vegeta goes for a tap attack, but it does nothing. So that's pretty cool. I mean, we'll see if it actually is cool, but that's an interesting ability, I think. But if Vegeta, for example, had not gone for a tap attack, but instead he goes for like a blast card, a strike card, a long range green card, maybe he has his own overdrive gauge. Maybe he's going to go for his overdrive attack. Maybe he's going to go for an AoE green. Maybe he's going to go for a blue. Maybe he goes for an ult. All of those things will still interrupt this overcharge. It's just quick attacks, tap shots, tackles, and that kind of thing, right? So it's mostly just tap actions will not work to get rid of the overdrive charge. Yeah, so that's how that works. And then when Vegeta goes for the quick attack there, you'll notice that Goku cancels it out. It technically does stop the overdrive, or sorry, it does technically does stop the overcharge, but yeah, he doesn't really take damage from it, and Vegeta can't start a combo from it, and you can't also then like hit Goku into the air to send him into the air from this. There's the animation again, yeah. Charge attack. Activate by swiping towards your opponent while overcharging. You can combo into an arts after landing a charge attack. Yeah, so this is like a super tackle. I guess it's the best way to... It's a super... We have tackle 2.0 in the game. It is a super tackle. This is like it's a linebacker simulator. Like Goku is overcharging, and then he just full screen tackles Vegeta. Look at this. Yeah, that's all. That's, you know, that's significantly more damage than a normal tackle would do. But you can only do this while you're overcharging. So you need like a second to, yeah. Let's see. I think there is a clip in here where he does start a combo on Vegeta with the overcharge. Let's see. Oh no, they don't show it. Okay. So yeah, we saw all this. Is that it? Okay, here's like kind of like a summarization of everything we saw here. So low area surface battle will start randomly. Oh, this is actually good to note as well. The battles from now on. So when you queue into PvP and you enter a match, the battles will randomly start either in the air or on the ground. So it is important to know kind of like where you are. So when the battle first starts, I think usually what happens is the camera like pans down. You should be able to tell pretty instantaneously whether or not you're starting on the ground or in the air. So that will have an impact on the fight also. Yeah, look, we got like the dust sort of like brushing up from the ground there. Activate by tapping the screen after you land a tackle or a quick attack to do the area change attack. Yeah, so clearly we're already on the ground here, so Goku's going to send Vegeta into the air with probably a quick attack into that, right? I would hope, Goku. Yeah, there we go. And I imagine there's probably going to be like a tutorial on this in the game. There's probably going to be a section in Trunks training about this, just because it's like, again, this is just completely changing the way the game is played. All right, and you can see that you can still have access to the overcharge gauge even in the air, right? Just because you're now fighting in the air doesn't mean that you can't now do all these mechanics that we just talked about. So that's sending Vegeta back down. Notice how much damage Vegeta took from that. Activate by charging your ki for a set period. This is overcharge. And from the overcharge position, you can then again enter into like that super tackle. So even if Vegeta's at long range, you can still hit him and start comboing against him. So it's kind of crazy. I think if you're somebody who's going against an opponent who is overcharging, it might be better to actually just use a card, like use a blast card, use a strike card. If you're at long range and your opponent is overcharging, remember the opponent cannot perfect vanish you from long range against a blast card. So it should be relatively safe to go for a blast card while your opponent is overcharging at long range because they can't perfect vanish you. And if they go for a tackle against you or whatever it's called, when they go for the super tackle against you, I'm assuming what will happen is your blast card will take priority over their super tackle, and then you can start a combo on them. So I think blasts theoretically should be pretty safe to use against somebody who's overcharging, and if you're at long range against them. At least that's what it looks like to me. Yeah, it looks like you get, yeah, that's crazy that you get vanish back on that too. Yeah, and now he's gonna get the overdrive gauge filled up, and he's gonna go for the overdrive effect here. Like the mini Rising Rush Junior. They added Rising Rush 2 to the game. That's crazy. people wanted them to delete Rising Rush from the game. They said, here, we're adding Rising Rush 2. All right, so there is the overcharge gauge getting maxed out. And then while activated, you'll nullify tap shots and automatically cancel out tap attacks, tackles, and quick attack when you're overcharging. And then with the full gauge out, you can go with the actual overcharge attack. Yep. Let's just forward a little bit here. Yeah, here it is. And it looks like it doesn't deplete, right? So you can like during, I mean, I guess it's not going to work during a combo. Like if you are like charge stepping during a combo, I imagine they specifically calculated the amount of time needed to actually activate the overcharge gauge to fill up is probably too long to actually get filled up during a combo. I imagine they don't want you charge stepping to fill up the overdrive gauge during a combo. But it looks like you can actually keep part of the overdrive gauge and maintain it for later. Like you don't have to fill the whole gauge up at once. So that is something to remember. Because here it is, right? And then here's the charge attack. So while you're overcharging, you can then go for like the super tackle thing. Yep. And then you can also start a combo off of that as well. Yeah, here we go. Here's the combo. Yep, there it is. And then you could go into your overdrive attack after that. Like, look how long this infinite key lasts for. Oh, it looks like there's actually like a countdown on here. It's almost like a pie chart. It's like counting down like a clock here. You can see it's counting down. I guess that's the amount of time left on the actual overdrive attack that you have. So if you don't use, yeah, and then it starts blinking. So if you don't use the overdrive attack before that goes away, then I guess it'll just reset your thing to 0 again. A temporary powered up state with both offensive and defensive properties. Use arts without spending ki, reduce incoming damage, and more. Yeah, the reducing damage thing is interesting. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but notice how this card has like the blue effect on this. That's because the effect on this strike card here is activated on the ground only. That's why it's blue, to indicate that is actually going to work there. That's pretty much it, I think. We went through most of what they talked about. Yeah, here's another overdrive attack section here. Get a bonus effect via choosing a mid-air or surface combo route. Again, like Rising Rush 2, it doesn't say anything about not being able to defeat the opponent when this goes through, so I imagine you could kill somebody with this. This is not like a UI Goku counter that like leaves the opponent at 1 HP. I imagine this could technically kill somebody. So there we go. And then you can actually send the opponent either into the air or into the ground with the overdrive attack, depending on what the last action in the overdrive attack sequence is as well. KO, and this is also cool as well. You can get a special animation, KO an enemy or finish the battle with it and get a special animation with the overdrive attack. So yeah, like I just said, you can KO somebody with this. And if you do KO somebody with it, you do get a special animation. It's almost like a destructive or destructible environment finish or whatever, right? So he's going to get the kill on Vegeta here, and we're going to be able to see like the special animation play out. So here we go. This is the overdrive attack. Just Goku beating the piss out of Vegeta here, and then Vegeta gets sent through the rocks, and that is the end. Yeah, that's just like completely a brand new animation in the game. So there we go. That is a brief overview and explanation of the dynamic area battle mechanic coming to the game in less than a day from now. Just tomorrow, after maintenance is over, we'll be able to experience this. It is going to change the game forever. This is the single biggest change we've ever seen in the game. Let me know your guys' initial impressions on this. I will do a community reaction video. I'll probably record it right after this. I'm gonna lose my voice, bro. There's so much content, so many videos I gotta record about this, because this like we kind of joked about, oh, Legends 2.0 is coming, and they did the UI update, and everything is different now. But this is really where I think Legends 2.0 has officially started, with everything in the game just being different. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts on the dynamic area battles, and I'll see you in the next one.